Do you love tomatoes? There is nothing better than a delicious, juicy, bright red tomato straight out of your garden. And in today's vlog, I'm going to share with you how my homegrown tomatoes have changed my life by growing them from seed. They are the best tasting tomatoes I have had in my whole life, and they only cost really pennies each. And last year, after giving away once again a number of tomato plants to family and friends, I harvested over 300 tomatoes off of my vines. And today I'm going to share with you the process for making it happen for you too. Hello my friends, and welcome to this week's vlog, and welcome to my kitchen and my dining room. I thought I would do this week's vlog here so that everything's a little bit more at counter height. And today we're going to be talking about tomatoes, as I shared in the intro. But first things first, I want to share with you where we are with the geraniums that we planted back about like 6 weeks ago. And I just brought them up from the grow room and they are looking good. So I'm going to be putting them into pots. And I thought while I did this, I would share with you what is happening with our channel, why we're going by this name, the Victory Garden Club now, and what does that even mean, a club? What? Well, here's the deal. So I joined a garden club. You know, I've been a gardener for what, 40 years, give or take. And I was a solo thing that I did. I'd get tips here and there from friends, all those things. And it's a pretty solo thing. But there was a camaraderie I was missing, and I didn't realize it till I joined a garden club here locally that had started up. And I enjoyed being able to talk about things with the other women in this club. Well, unfortunately, it turned out it was a very cliquey little club, and women acting in ways that I didn't like, and they were mean, talking behind people's back, gossiping, something I had no interest in whatsoever. So I went ahead and backed out of that, and I started the Victory Garden Club that year. Oh, look at the roots on this. They are doing fabulous. Wow, I just love seeing that. And so I sadly, as I was saying, it's hard for me to do two things at once. I'm seeing if I could do this. I decided to start the Victory Garden Club. And why the Victory Garden Club? Well, victory has always been a word for me. And the Victory Garden was something I watched on PBS over the years many, many times. And just that whole idea of starting up, the idea of the Victory Garden back in the days where, people didn't have a lot of money and you didn't have to spend a fortune gardening. Now that's changed a lot today, where you do end up spending, let me put it that way, a lot of money gardening. And, honestly, I don't think you have to. And so I started the Victory Garden Club, and we did it for a year, and it was great, but my workload was pretty heavy with my coaching practice. I've been a business coach for the last 25 years, and it was just too much. There was just too much going on in my life to do that as well. So I put it on hiatus last year, and then I'm kind of semi-retired in my coaching life at this point in time. So we got one in the pot. And so I decided to bring it back again. And this time, not just something here in my community, just outside of Boulder here in Colorado in Zone 6A, but I wanted to do something online across the country, because it fascinates me when you're able to see at people in other zones, right? Yeah, I mean, it's nice to talk to gardeners in your own zone because you have similar issues, or, you can share plants, which is a great part about doing that. But it also is nice to see what other people are doing, especially like right now. It's March, and we can only do so much outside, where people in California and Florida, etc., darn it, they're already getting into spring, and we can't do that. So we really I think it's cool to be able to see that. So what the Victory Garden Club is, and there'll be more, there's a link here that you can get into that and really see what the club is all about. Very low cost, and really to find effective ways to garden that doesn't cost you a fortune. And it's a community of people who love to garden, whether you're a brand new gardener or you've been gardening for years like me. I am learning all the time. And I think that's a sign of a good gardener, is somebody who's learning all the time. So take a look at the link below and let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if it's something that you might be interested in. All right, so I'm going to finish up these geraniums, but I want to talk to you about tomatoes first. So let's talk tomatoes, shall we? I have many packets of tomato seeds. So let's get a little bit closer in with the camera and I will share these with you. Okay, the geraniums are potted, and now it's time to start planting the tomatoes. And here are all the beauties that I want to share with you today. Now, as I said in the intro, I love tomatoes. I don't just kind of like them, I love them. And I love fresh tomatoes more than any other kind of tomato. Even going back as a kid, I loved tomatoes. I loved tomato sandwiches in the summertime. Wasn't real thrilled about like canned tomatoes, or what did my mom used to make? Stewed tomatoes. Ugh. For some reason, I didn't like those because they just didn't taste as fresh and as good. So, and as a gardener, I would get tomato plants from the local garden center. Even there's an extension office here that I got some from, but I never had good yields on my tomatoes. I would get like maybe 5 or 6 tomatoes, and I'm not kidding you. And then, you know, they would really start to ripen about August 30th, it seemed, and then I had a very short period of having the tomatoes. But then 3 years ago, all that changed, and I started growing them from seed, and it changed everything. And that's why I said in the title to this video about that these are the best tomato plants, because what I found is that the yields were so much higher. And that 3 years ago when I first started doing it, I planted a ton. And that's the nice thing about tomatoes, is that you can plant a lot. And I'll show you that as we plant them into as we actually put the seeds in there. But you can put 2 or 3 in there, and sometimes all 3 take, and then you can separate them sometimes. And that was the thing with growing even the geraniums. I had 1 geranium per pot. So I feel pretty good that I have 8, what do I have? I have 6, 7, 8, and I have 2 more downstairs. So I have 10. So out of 12 seeds, I got 10. And so that was pretty lucky. But I didn't work out with all my seeds like that. You know, my artichokes, I have 2 that are doing good downstairs in the grow room, but the rest, no bueno. So with tomatoes, you just seem to have better luck. And that first year, I probably did about 60 plants, ended up, gave a lot of them out to family and friends, and I loved doing that. And I still, this year, I'll do it again. I did it last year and the year after that, or before that. So here's the kind that I'm going to be growing. Always want to do some cherry tomatoes. I didn't get any pears this year. Usually I'll do a yellow pear. I have an garden arch that I'll put these over, but the first one is chocolate cherry. Now, does that sound good or what? So, so chocolate cherry is one of the cherry tomatoes, and the other one is called sugar sweetie. So those will be my 2 cherry tomatoes that I'll have coming up over the arch. Now, some of these I have never tried before, and I think that's the thing about gardening, right, is that we want to always be trying new things. So oxheart was highly recommended, and as you can tell, all of these are from Botanical Interests. I just really trust their tomatoes. I'm a tomato, most of my seeds are Botanical Interests. I really do like them. They're a Colorado company, and I really do love their stuff. So this oxheart is one. Red Pride, and those were the tomatoes I showed in the intro from last summer. They were delicious, and they were just so those are a favorite. I really do love those. Green Zebra. Now, I don't know. I don't know about this, and I've tried like Purple Cherokee and a few of the purple tomatoes, but I'm not gonna do them this year, but I will try this Green Zebra some way, somehow it came into my life, so I'm gonna do that. A very dear friend of mine has told me for years to do Brandywine. I have not done them yet, and it looks like this particular seed packet, they come both yellow and red, so Brandywine is on the list. Now this next one, and I have a couple of packages of it because I love Moskvich. Moskvich is I would say that and Red Pride are really my two favorite tomatoes. And and the yields are just so good. Last year I probably got about 3 out of about 15 plants. I got about 300 tomatoes, and I'll put a picture up here and show you of the, like, even at the end of the season, what was really fascinating to me at the end of the season, which wasn't until October, you know, we were getting a frost, I had to pull the plants. And so I have my windowsill here in the kitchen, and I just laid them all out on the windowsill, and they loved it here. There was many green tomatoes in there, but they all turned red for the most part. I didn't need to make a bunch of fried green tomatoes last year, but Moskvich is just a favorite. Next one is a new one I haven't tried before, and I just saw it the other day because I had to go back and get Red Pride. And so I went ahead and got this Money Maker too. It looks pretty good. It's an heirloom. And I didn't say what all were the heirloom, but I'm just looking real quick here. The Brandywine is an heirloom as well. Now, the other one that I have not done before either, but I'm going to give it a try, is the beefsteak. I've done beefsteak plants that I've bought, and I've never had much luck with it. So we'll see how they do it from seed. And then finally, and I will not sow these indoors. I will direct sow these outdoors because they seem to go very well outdoors, and that's tomatillos. Love some good tomatillos, and so I will do that. Yeah, so it's just, they're so delicious, and again, it's so much more cost effective for you know, whatever, $2.29. I mean, the most expensive packet was these Red Prides that I just got that were $4.29 a pack for just 15 seeds, but like the Moskvich were the prices have gone up. I've noticed they have gone up a little bit this year, like everything else, right? So last year, these are last year's, I had an extra package of seeds of Moskvich last year that were $2.29 a pack for 30 seeds. This is kind of reminding me of what's going on with a lot of things. Now this is $2.69 for 20 seeds. So you get 10 less seeds and it's more money. What's going on with that botanical interest? But I guess it's happening with everybody everywhere. But, you know, look at that. They look exactly the same, but one year to another, they're different. So again, it's just so much more cost effective. Even if you look at buying tomatoes already in the store, or even at the farmer's market, they're extremely expensive. I mean, I've paid up to $5 a tomato, which is just insane. And they're not as delicious. Well, they are. I mean, it depends on which farmer you get it from, but they are. My tomatoes are my favorite. That's what I have to say. So that's why next week we'll be doing peppers. The following week we are going to be doing, what are we doing? We will be doing dahlias. We're going to talk about dahlias and zinnias week after next. So every week we're going to talk about this. You'll get to see where my tomatoes are, because most of these, they're saying days to emerge is 5 to 10. So in between, hopefully I'll have some to show you next week. That'll be popping up and looking so perky in the little nursery downstairs that we'll be having them. And, you know, if you're not following me on Instagram, please do. I do updates all the time of what's happening in the garden. So please follow me over there at Victory Girl. And as I shared at the beginning of this video, you know, consider the Victory Garden Club. It's $14 a month. It's very inexpensive. We have some specials going on right now with some extra stuff we're giving away. So check it out on the link below, and I think that's it for this week. Thanks so much, and I will be busy getting some tomatoes planted. Hooray. All right, take good care. All right, I thought I would go over one more time, just a little bit closer up, what we are planting up here. Starting off with the cherry tomatoes, we've got the chocolate cherry and the sugar sweetie. We have the ox heart, which is a new one that I have not tried before, so very interested to see how that goes. We have got the green zebra, which I have not tried before either. I am a little skeptical, but I'm going to go with it. We've got the beefsteak, which I have not grown on my own before, from seed anyway. As I shared, I've done it with the plants, but not from seed, so we'll see how that goes. Moneymaker is another new one as well. Brandywine, highly recommended by a dear friend, and so we're going to give that one a go. And then finally, my two faves that I just can't even imagine not growing anymore. And one is the Red Pride. And then up here, all ready to roll, is the Moskvich. And what I will say about seed packets, they give you so much information. And let's go ahead and flip it over to the back. You know, from what the seedlings will look like to how many days to expect it to emerge, the spacing to put 3 seeds. It says, now this is where I kind of differ. It says 3 seeds every 24 to 36 inches. I never do that. I'm just going to say. And then the row spacing. What I'm going to end up doing here in my little plastic containers that I use year after year is that I'll put about 3 of them in each one. And then what will happen is we'll break them up. If some don't germinate, then that's that, but you know, I will thin them out. It gives you, you know, really a lot of information about when to sow outside, when to start inside. I have never direct sowed outside. Like it says here, it's for mild climates only, so if you're in zones like in some of the colder zones, don't do it. Don't do it. You just don't have enough time. And then, you know, it says 4 to 6 weeks, which right now we are in mid-March, so it'll be mid-April, middle of May. And since we're taking a trip to France, I want to make sure they're fully grown so the person that's taking care of our house can take care of them. So that is what's happening with the seed packets. And I will share with you where we go from here. All right, and a quick reminder about what we want to do with our soil. We've got soil that we have amended with some coco coir. We have, it's a lighter seed starting. We have some wool pellets in here too, which I can still see. And we have, the important thing is that it should be wet. I have moisturized it with water, not to a soaking point, but that you want it pretty wet to carry these seedlings through the first couple of days when they go into the nursery, as I like to call them. So we're simply going to fill each of these containers with the dirt, and be sure to pack it down, not too tight. It's just enough to that there's no air bubbles in there, I guess is the best way to say it. And there you go. And then we will put the seeds right in there and a little dirt on top. So let me go ahead and grab the seed packet here. One of the things I like to do is that I usually will rip mine from the bottom of the packet. Sometimes I'm not very, now this I can feel there's a packet inside the packet, so I got to be a little more careful with it. So there is a little packet inside of the packet. This seems to be happening more these days. I'm not sure why, but that is what's happening. So with these Moskvich, and I've got 20 seeds in here, so I do want to go ahead and bring them down to the bottom, or to the top, or however you want to say it, but just kind of wiggle it so that your seeds don't fall out. And then, like I said, I'm going to do 2 or 3 to a packet. And here they are. There are my seeds. Man, I don't look like 20. Must be 20 seeds. It sure don't look like 20 seeds. Huh. All right, there's more. They're kind of stuck down in there. But there is my seeds. You can see them. And I'm just going to place them in here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there was another 4th one that went in there. These are pretty small seeds. And, you know, seeds are interesting because they're in so many different shapes and sizes. But there we are. So I'm just going to move that around a little bit. Because again, I don't want them too close together because I may have to separate them if they all germinate. And there's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And so this could give me like 18 plants, which is pretty amazing, which is why I end up with so many plants as we separate them. But that, I will cover these in dirt. Put those back in there. So I still have more seeds for next year. Then I'm just going to sprinkle a little dirt over the top, water them down one more time, and we are good to go. And then I will just do this over and over again until I get all of my seedlings. Put a little more dirt in here. And there we go. That's it. That is it. I also wanted to note that I found some wooden plant markers on Amazon that I could put the name of the plants, which is really critical. And in particular with the Moskvich, these I'm going to mark Moskvich 24 because, as I said earlier, I have 2024 seeds and 2022. So I want to see which ones make it and which ones don't, and if it makes any difference. So marking your plants is incredibly important. So I'm just going to stick that right here in the very front of this one, and away we go. So here they are. The tomato plants are in what I call the nursery. This is where they'll be tonight and for the next week or so, with a heating pad underneath them. We've got the LED lights, and one thing I know to be true is that just get this on here. Hang on, hold on one second here. Yeah, sometimes you just need 2 hands. So what's happening here is, because these stakes are kind of tall, I have a little bit of room between the top and the bottom of the tray here. I want to create this humidifier type situation, and it may not happen because of this, but gosh darn it, I'm tired. It's been a long day. So in the morning we'll come and check. If we don't have the humidity coming together, I will go through and cut back all those stakes. I'd like to keep them taller just because when they get into the bigger pots, they'll be the right size, but we'll see what happens. Everything's an experiment, so we'll come in the morning and see how they're doing. So this morning I came down, and sure enough, and I knew it to be true, that without having that plastic cover all the way down, it was not creating the atmosphere that it needed to. I also realized I forgot to put the vermiculite on the top of it. Last night I was so tired. And so this morning, handy dandy spray bottle, which I always recommend have near your seeds, as well as your watering can, whatever that looks like. But for now, they'll just get sprayed. But once the dome is on, it'll be so much better, because it will help to keep the moisture in. And it's so important during these first few days. I think it was fine overnight. And yeah, these were like, I cut it off. I cut some wire cutters out of the garage and used them to cut these wood stakes, and that's, let me see, it was that much too high. So onward we go. And pretty much immediately you can start seeing how it's holding. Again, I've got a heat mat under it, and it's holding in and holding in the moisture and creating the environment that will help these seeds to thrive. And with that, I'm going to leave you today. I will leave you with the promised picture of last year's tomatoes as they sat in the windowsill. And here they are, the last of the huge tomato haul that we had last year, and this was October 2023. And most of them turned red. It was a beautiful thing, a beautiful season, and I'm looking forward to having that again here in 2024. And with that, I will see you next week. Thanks for growing with us, and we will see you next time. And in the meantime, be sure to like, comment, let us know what really resonated for you in this video, and then of course be sure to subscribe at no cost to you and be updated when we have new videos up to play.